Good afternoon, everyone. It is Tuesday, March the 10th, 2020. It is currently 12:36 p.m. Central Time. Well, we are live on the air once again. I was live on the air, 20 minutes ago, 15 minutes ago, and I've hit the big red go live button once again because this time, well, we're going to be talking about a new movie that I believe opens this Thursday, probably Thursday evening. They'll have some showings. Officially, it will open Friday, but typically Thursday night around 7 or 9 p.m., they usually have at least the first one or two showings of a new movie. So this Thursday evening, Friday, depending on where you are, a new movie opens, and well, let's just say this new movie is going to be somewhat controversial. It was supposed to open in September, and the movie studios canceled the release of the movie. Some say because of some statements made by President Trump, that President Trump got this movie at least temporarily canceled. But here we are now in March, and it looks like the movie studio is going to release the movie. Some are calling it the most talked about movie of the year that no one has seen. In fact, I think I have a picture of a poster for the movie. Let me pull this up. Yes, this is what it has. The most talked about movie of the year is one that no one's actually seen. Hunt. That's the name of the movie. Hunt. 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 And then they have Decide for Yourself. And then they have September the 27th, which was the original date that it was to be released, crossed out. And then they have March 13th, which is coming up soon. So the most talked about movie of the year is one that no one's actually seen. The movie is called The Hunt. Decide for Yourself, March the 13th. Now, here's a little bit of information about this movie. The Hunt is an upcoming American action horror film. That's something we definitely want to know. You may want to know. It is supposedly based on the 1924 short story, The Most Dangerous Game. Now, when they say based, I think it's loosely based on that short story. I have not read that short story. I may go look for it today and try to read it. Again, it's the name of the story is The Most Dangerous Game by Richard Connell, Connell. All right, so The Hunt, that's the name of the movie. It's an upcoming American action horror film based on the 1924 short story, The Most Dangerous Game by Richard Connell, Connell. Now, the film was originally scheduled for release on September the 27th, 2019. However, following the Dayton and El Paso mass shootings in early August 2019, Universal Pictures decided to shelve the release of the film. The decision came a day after criticism regarding the film came from the United States President Donald Trump. The Hunt has since been rescheduled for a theatrical release in the United States on March the 13th, 2020 by Universal Pictures. Here's the premise of the film. Loosely based, that's what I thought, loosely based on the 1924 short story, The Most Dangerous Game, the film follows 12 strangers who mysteriously wake up in a clearing. They do not know where they are or how they got there. They discover that they have been chosen to be hunted in a game devised by a group of elites. The hunters gather in a remote facility called the Manor House, but their sport gets derailed when one of the hunted, Crystal, fights back and starts killing them one by one. This movie had a budget of $14 million, has a running time of 90 minutes, and I don't see a rating here. It has to be rated R. I don't see how. The filming of the film began on February the 20th, 2019 in New Orleans. It was completed on April the 5th of 2019. And according to the Hollywood Reporter, there were a pair of test screenings for the film which had negative reactions. The second screening was held on August the 6th, 2019 in Los Angeles, which audience members were again expressing discomfort with the politics of it, an issue Universal had not foreseen, although other studios had initially passed on the script for that very reason. In a statement to Variety, Universal pushed back on a report that test audiences had been uncomfortable with the film's political slant, and also countered claims that the script had originally had a politically explosive title. While some outlets have indicated that test screenings for The Hunt resulted in negative audience feedback, in fact, the film was very well received and tallied one of the highest scores for an original Blumhouse film. And that's according to a Universal spokesperson. Additionally, they said no audience members in attendance at the test screening expressed discomfort with any political discussion in the film. While reports also say The Hunt was formerly titled Red State versus Blue State, that was never the working title for the film at any point throughout the developmental process, nor appeared on any status reports under that name. So I guess there were reports saying it was going to be called Red State versus Blue State, which obviously would have been extremely political, but they said that was never the case. Prior to the film's initial shelving, the film attracted criticism from some of the media and an allegedly portrayal of liberal elitists hunting supporters of Donald Trump. That's what some have classified that this film is showing, that it's showing actual liberal elitists hunting supporters of Donald Trump. Trump issued a tweet on August the 9th calling liberal Hollywood racist at the highest level and writing, "The movie coming out is made in order to inflame and cause chaos," adding that they create their own violence and then try to blame others. Although Trump did not specify the name of the film, news vehicles believe that was mostly likely a reference to The Hunt. Some commentators, such as a columnist for The Atlantic and the National Review, argued that the film actually had a right-wing, anti-liberal tone that was misinterpreted by conservative critics of the film. So what do we take from all of that? We take this. When it comes to movies and interpretation of movies, people are really bad at it. People are really bad at it. They can sometimes see what they want to see in a film. Many have no actual training or have been taught how to interpret a film, how to interpret it from the opening scene. Usually is very critical to interpreting the film, how to interpret the film based off a number of factors. A lot of people have no skill in that. So a film comes out and they're like, "Oh, wait, that's liberals. That's liberals attacking us." I thought I was going to sneeze right there and I didn't want to sneeze on the air. So that's why I hit the mute button. A lot of people will see this and say, "That's liberals." And that's they're living out this fantasy of killing Trump supporters or killing conservatives. Others are like, no. This has a very anti-liberal slant and everyone's going to see it their own way. And no one is really going to stop to go, okay, here's a piece of art. What is it trying to say? And is it saying what it's trying to say in a way that is well done, or does it try to say what it's trying to say in a very poor way? Does it say it poorly, or is it not really trying to say anything and it's all just about shock, violence, gore, horror? It doesn't really have any major message. Now, based off what I have seen and read, it does have a message. Now, the question will be, does it articulate that message in a clear, concise way? And then you have to decide whether you agree or disagree with it. Now, art, I believe art is supposed to make us at times uncomfortable. I think art should try to stretch our way of thinking, confront us with different perspectives. I think that's one of the powerful things of art. Doesn't mean that you see something and you have to agree with it. Doesn't mean you have to agree with the perspective. I mean, if all you're going to do is watch and listen what you agree with, then you create an echo chamber where you always think you're right. Is the film, and I think this is going to come down, does the film promote violence against certain kinds of people? In other words, does this movie promote violence against conservatives? Does it promote violence against liberals? Does it present liberals as the crazy people who want to kill conservatives? Does it present conservatives as crazy people who want to kill liberals? Or does this entire film really, even though it may be placed in the context of some political dialogue and some political concepts, does it have more to say about the value of human life, how some people view human life, how sometimes within society human life is used for the advantage or the pleasure or the entertainment of other people. And so we almost dehumanize people, and we use other people for our own agenda and our own purposes and our own pleasure. And we almost dehumanize them and see them as a tool and not as a human being. How do you even review a film like this if you don't believe people are created in the image of God? If you believe they're just evolved animals, then why not hunt people? I mean, right? I mean, there's a lot of different factors that may come into the review of this film and examining it. I just want to bring it to your attention. Now, this may be a film that is going to be argued by everyone, and you're going to hear all kinds of arguments about it. I would challenge you, don't listen to what other people say. If you want to form an opinion, you're probably going to have to watch it yourself, or don't engage in the conversation, because it's hard to interpret something you haven't seen. I mean, as the poster says, the most talked about film of the year that nobody has seen. Well, and everyone's out there writing articles going, oh, this movie does this. And President Trump, possibly, if that's what he was referring to, making claims. It's hard to know unless you see it. So this is what I would tell you. Obviously, I don't have anything in front of me saying that it's rated R, but I can almost guarantee you it's rated R. From the trailer, it's extremely violent. It's going to have lots of violence. At times, that violence may be, we could probably classify it as gory. I'm assuming it's going to be. Again, just from my feeling from the trailer. Obviously, it's going to have language. I don't know anything about any sexual content. I haven't seen anything that indicates it has that or any nudity, but I guarantee you're going to get language and you're going to get violence, and you're going to get probably messages that may offend your political leanings no matter which way you go. And it's definitely, from a Christian perspective, it depends on ultimately it really depends on how the movie ends, right? If you have people being hunted and at the end of the movie, they basically say that's a right way of thinking, right? I think what you're really going to come into a moral dilemma. You're going to have someone hunting people, or you got to have a group of people hunting people, and if the movie shows that to be wrong, does it demonstrate why it's wrong? Does it demonstrate why it's wrong by implying that human life has some intrinsic value? That's going to be interesting to see. Or is it going to be, look, these whacked out people want to hunt people, and then this person came back and killed them all. Woohoo! Well, they killed them all. And so you're going to have killing to stop killing, glorifying the killing of the others, and then you're going to almost be cheering the killing of the people who are hunting. So therefore, ultimately, killing becomes the thing that is glorified. Now, that's a typical way that stories are told in Hollywood. I understand. You stop violence with violence, and then the violence that stops the other violence is glorified. I understand that's the way the stories are told. That's a common technique. We could argue from a biblical perspective, is it right and wrong? I would just say, be aware that the film is coming. Know it. Stay away from it if you don't think it's something you want to see. I completely understand that. But just be careful that you don't jump into the middle of a social media debate over something you haven't seen, and make sure that the people who have seen it possess some kind of ability to actually know how to interpret it. They can't interpret a movie, then they can't offer an interpretation of the movie. And to interpret a movie requires skill. Got to have skill. You've got to know film analysis. I did an entire message on film analysis, and I did so in regards to biblical hermeneutics. It's a long story how we got there, but we talked about film analysis, what to look for, how to interpret this, and how to figure things out. And a lot of times when a movie becomes controversial, everyone's just going to be yelling at each other. No one's going to speak to each other. Everyone's going to speak past each other. And it may turn into red versus blue, liberal versus liberal versus conservative, Democrat versus Republican. This may turn into a big political argument. And once politics get involved, typically all rationality, reason, logic goes out the window. But this is what I want to do. I want to play the trailer for you. It is a trailer. Now, you're going to get the audio of it. You're going to definitely hear it is violent, all right? So if you may not want to listen to this, you may want to go ahead and hit pause now. I wanted to give all of my descriptions and all of my discussions and all of that information out of the way before I played the trailer, because I know some people will not want to hear this. You may not want to hear children who are a young age hear this. So you may want to hit pause. You may want to stop right now. You at least know that it's coming. You have a basic idea what it's about. You have its name. You have it's based off a story from 1924. You've got all the information to look it up. You can read about it for yourself. But I'm going to play the trailer so that you can at least hear it. You will hear clearly there is some dialogue that they include in the trailer that is very political in nature. You can kind of hear there's definitely a political undertone. So I don't know how they can completely ignore that or claim that it wasn't there. I don't know what actually happened in the test screenings. I don't know if people felt uncomfortable with the politics or if they didn't. I don't know. I don't know if it originally had red state versus blue state. I don't know if that was originally a working title. They claim that it isn't. I don't have the interworkings of a movie studio, and I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I do. What I do know is the movie's opening soon. It's going to be talked about. They claim it's the most talked about film of the year that nobody has seen. So let's know about it. Let's be ready to talk about it. And here's what I'll say this right before I play the trailer. And this is the most important thing I want you to take away from this. If you are a Christian and people start talking about the movie, use this as an opportunity to speak about, hey, you believe killing people is wrong? Why do you believe it's wrong? Well, it's illegal. Well, legality of something, it was legal at one time to purchase human beings as property in this country. So legality does not always equal that something is moral. Legal doesn't always mean something is ethical or moral. It just means it's currently legal, and legal status can change at any time. We can go from a country that used to buy and sell human beings as property to a country that banned that practice and called it illegal. So legality can change. Morality is something else. So is it morally wrong to take someone and hunt them down and kill them? Is it morally wrong? They say, yes, it's morally wrong. Why is it morally wrong? Why? Do you believe in evolution? Isn't a person just an evolved animal? Well, yeah. Okay, well then why is it wrong? Or is there some intrinsic value in a human being? Why do human beings and human life has intrinsic value? Is there some sanctity to human life? Well, I believe there is, because we're created in the image of God. You can use this to get into an entire discussion about the sanctity of human life, the value of human life, morality. You can use this as an opportunity to have some very important theological, ethical, moral, and philosophical conversations. Use it for that purpose. Don't just sit there and yell and scream about its politics. Use it for something greater. Use it for something of greater significance than a political debate, because political debates are a waste of time, in my opinion, because the real issues are always spiritual. The real issues are always theological. We do not fight against flesh and blood. It's a spiritual battle, and a spiritual battle about how our society views human life. That's the question. So keep that in mind. All right, here we go. Are you ready? Giving you a chance. Hit pause now, because I'm about to play the trailer for the movie The Hunt, which opens on March the 13th in theaters around the country. I probably will see it, and I will probably post a review of it. I probably will. And, then people, if they have questions, you can ask me. So I will, if all possible, I will go see it Thursday evening, and then I'll post a review maybe as early as Friday morning, maybe Thursday night. So we will see. Here we go. This is the trailer. Obviously, it's audio. The trailer for the movie The Hunt. Controversial. It got pulled in September because of comments made by President Trump, or at least that's the claim. Now they're releasing it now here in March. They're definitely using the controversy for marketing purposes. Obviously, they want to make money. They spent $14 million in making it. They got to get that money back, or it hurts the studio and hurts people. So they're going to do what they can. We'll see if it's as controversial as they claim. If it's all hype, will there actually be controversy? Who knows? And in 2020, if there is controversy, it will probably last for about 2 hours and everyone will move on with their lives. So controversy today is pretty short-lived because people have short attention spans. Here we go. Here is the trailer. Listen carefully.
Hey there. Help you?
What state is this?
Sorry.
You don't understand the question?
Oh, no, I didn't. Most people know where they are.
Why ain't most people?
You're in the glorious state of Arkansas, sweetheart.
How'd you know they was lying?
Well, this ain't Arkansas, so everyone is lying.
Your idea is incredible.
I can't argue with that. We pay for everything. So this country belongs to us.
It's just business. Hunting human beings for sport.
They're not human beings.
Every year, a bunch of elites
Kidnap normal folk like us.
Where'd they get you from?
Wyoming.
Mississippi?
Orlando.
And hunt us for sport. Hurry up.
So it's true.
We're being hunted.
Hey, what am I gonna wait?
What is happening?
Put him in the back with the rest.
Gonna take a freight train down at the station. I don't care where it goes.
Now they can't see us.
You just told them we're here.
What was that?
I think that was a rifle.
Come on, everybody get out of here!
Jesus, come on.
Who are these people?
How are they getting away with this? Oh, can't you see
You have no idea what you're up against.
what the happened?
They're playing you.
Been doing
They'll tear you to pieces.
We'll see.
can't you see
Of all the people you kidnapped, of all the people you killed,
what the happened?
you picked the wrong game.
Lady, you're crazy.
As you heard, they're not human beings. They're not human beings. That I think is important. And what I think, now, just from a trailer, which is dangerous to try to interpret, this is what I would be looking for or paying attention to. Is the purpose of this entire movie to possibly demonstrate that we dehumanize, that we are in a culture that everyone dehumanizes the person they're arguing against? We dehumanize people. Liberals dehumanize conservatives. Conservatives dehumanize liberals. We all dehumanize each other and then attack. And we have to stop and see one another. Well, now, of course, the movie it does not have a theological foundation to even make this argument. From a theological foundation, we would say we need to stop dehumanizing people and see that each other is someone created in the image of God. We are created by God. We have a soul that will live forever. There is an intrinsic value in human beings. We are human beings, and human beings have an intrinsic value. They are dehumanizing people. They're not human beings. Now, of course, that's said in the context of a trailer, so I have no idea of the fuller context of the quote. But that's something I'm going to be looking for. Is the message of this movie? We dehumanize each other. The elites dehumanize the non-elites, but do the non-elites dehumanize the elites? Do the poor dehumanize the rich and say, well, who cares what they think? Who cares what they need? And does the rich dehumanize the poor? Is that the message? But again, even if the movie tries to tackle such a deep philosophical concept, I don't think it's going to do so in a major way because it's an action horror film. So the philosophical thing will be kind of underneath the surface. But I want to scream this from the rooftop. Our culture does not possess the foundation to address the issue. They believe that we are evolved animals, that we came from an explosion, that just so by time and chance we ultimately just end here. There's no transcendent purpose. There is no transcendent morality. We are just, biological creatures that are just going to die. There's nothing outside of ourselves. So any value we give to human life is a value that we self-impose upon. We declare that human life has value. Well, that's just us declaring it. A dog may want to declare that it has some kind of value. I mean, obviously, I'm being a little facetious there, but you get the point. If we just say that we have value, that doesn't make it so. However, if we are created by God and we are created in his image, then and then he said, for God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten son, that not only he created, he has a love for the world. He sent his son to die to redeem us, that our life has value, our life has purpose, and we should not ever dehumanize each other. We must always approach other people as being created in the image of God, and there's an intrinsic value and sanctity to their life. Our culture can't address this issue. The culture just says, man, treating people is bad. Enslaving people is bad. Racism is bad. Murder is bad. Why is it bad? We don't really know why. We don't have any real reason. We just say that it's bad. Okay? You say that it's bad, but the people before you who enslaved people, they thought it was good. So were they wrong and you're right? Well, or according to our culture, they were living out their truth. The culture is incapable of dealing with these issues. You need a theological foundation. Hence, that's why I do this podcast. You got to look at things from a theological perspective. Bring God into the picture, and now you have the basis. Oh, people are created in God's image. That's why God made it very clear that if you kill or shed the blood of a human being created in his image, then that person should be killed. Capital punishment was instituted by God. Go back to Genesis. You can see that. Now, we could talk about, I'm not sitting here saying that the way capital punishment is always carried out in our culture is something that I support, because in many cases it's broken. And yes, if you're poor, you have a greater chance of going to be put to death than if you're rich because of your legal representation. We could get into minorities have we could get into a whole lots of problems with that structure. But I'm saying the Bible speaks of it because human beings have a value. Human beings have a value. There's something, there's a sanctity to that life. So it's interesting that here, they're not human beings. Okay. Right. And you declare that, I bet you think you're a human being. We could even bring this over into the abortion argument. They're not human beings. Or Hitler, the Jews, they're not human beings. Or the Native Americans, they're not human beings. Or African, or the slaves taken from Africa, they're not human beings. They're savages. Okay. Or, even early evolutionary theory claiming that certain races were not as evolved as other races. They're not truly human. They're less than human. That's always, you dehumanize something and then you can destroy it. Hey, that baby in the womb, it's not a human being. Kill it. So this movie is going to raise lots of important subjects. I don't think the movie is going to deal with it in a meaningful way, but it's going to be interesting to watch the culture take the movie, get all upset about it, argue about it, and they don't even have a moral, ethical, theological, transcendent basis to even make the argument. And that, I think, will be what I'm going to pay the most attention to. All right, there you have it. The movie is called The Hunt. Will be released March the 13th, theaters nationwide. If you're going to see it, let me know, newsif@yahoo.com. If you're not going to see it, let me know, newsif@yahoo.com. If I've made you think about the movie differently than maybe you had been thinking about it, let me know, newsif@yahoo.com. If you go see the movie, email me at newsif@yahoo.com and let me know what you think. Bottom line is, let me know what you think, newsif@yahoo.com. All right, everyone have a great day. That concludes this live broadcast of the Theology Central podcast, where I do my best to try to make Theology Central even to a movie coming to a theater near you. God bless.